for the boys.
Woo! Oh, I fucked.
Good afternoon, guys. What is going on? Today is, I want to say, Monday, the October 30th. So, day before Halloween, day after Import Face-Off. And I'm going to just touch up on a video subject quick that I get asked a lot in the comments. And not to sound mean, but I'm getting kind of sick of answering it. So, it's basically just going to be how much did it cost to build my B20VTEC. But before I get into that, if you guys watched my last video of the Chronicles recap, then you'll know that I ripped my entire exhaust off. So I'll show you the piping, the old piping there. But I just wanted to show you guys that I got the exhaust replaced this morning. So I did just go full straight pipe. That's all it was before. I have an 18-inch resonator. If you guys want to know my full exhaust setup, it is a, what is it? Speed Daddy 4-to-1 eBay header. Yeah, it's eBay. Fight me over it. $60. Can't really beat that. And then straight pipe to an 18-inch resonator somewhere in the middle by the linkage, and then straight piped all the way back. And I love how it sounds. So I don't know. We'll do some sound clips later in this video. But anyway, this is what happened to the old pipe. So this was my last section that came out over the axle, and as you can see, it's really short. So it didn't even come to the bumper. So that's okay. But I'm glad that that new one actually comes to the bumper, because having it come out under the hatch made it super loud. But yeah, got a little bent up. So this piece is just scrap metal. I'll end up recycling it, get a couple pretty pennies for it. So yeah, I got that done. But yeah, let's just jump right into this. How much did it cost to build my B20VTEC? Okay, so mind you, there's going to be a couple pieces on this build that you don't absolutely need to do, but it is definitely recommended. So if you're wanting the absolute most budget way to do it, which I honestly do not recommend, just save up the other couple bucks and get the good stuff and do it right the first time. Otherwise, you're gonna run into issues later on down the road. If you're wondering, I'm roughly probably about 5,000 miles in or so on this motor, taking it, if you guys saw, to California and back. Round trip, did perfectly fine minus the exhaust getting torn off. But yeah, this car has not had a single hiccup so far, and it's been running great because I made sure to do it right the first time. So yeah, without further ado, basically, well, I'm gonna just tell you right off the bat what you don't absolutely need to have. So basically, the only specialty things that I did was a catch can setup. Depending on what head and or intake setup you're using, you may or may not need that, but it is definitely highly recommended. Say for my motor mounts, I used Hasport motor mounts, the solid mounts, and it's not an absolute necessity. I definitely recommend it, but they ran me $350 for the set. So you definitely get what you pay for, because innovative mounts are pretty much trash in comparison to Hasport. But yeah, you don't absolutely need to get new motor mounts if yours are good. I have VMS adjustable cam gears. You don't need adjustable cam gears, but they're nice to have, especially if you're going to be doing some fine tuning on the motor. But other than that, yeah, I guess I'll kind of go over what you need. All right, let's start with the simple stuff. So the block, I had a B20 non-VTEC motor in here before, but when I went to put the head on here, this is a JDM B16A first generation B16 head. And when I went to put this head on my first block, one of the head studs stripped and pulled out the threads on the first block. So assuming you don't have a B20 block at all, out here in Arizona, I picked up this B20B low compression engine for, I believe it was $350. If you have the extra money, by all means, get the high compression motor. In my personal experience, like neck to neck driving each car, the B20 low comp and the high comp, regular B20s have absolutely no like butt dyno difference. They feel exactly as fast, and me and my buddy's car were head to head. So that's personal preference. I know if you doing the VTEC, it's going to raise the compression even more with the higher compression. So if you have the money, go for it. So for the B20 block, or for the motor, the long block, I'm sorry, it was $350. Now, I got a pretty good deal on this B16 head, so that you try and look around, find a complete head if you can. But my head in specific, like I said, first gen B16A head, running just B16 cams, GSR dual springs, SuperTech valve seals and GSR retainers and keepers and all that stuff. So everything is GSR in here except for the cams, which are B16. And then, like I said, I have the VMS adjustable cam gears. So the head I got for, I want to say, $240, and then Machine Work ran me roughly $200 for having them install the valve seals, having them flatten the head out, mill it, or whatever it's called. I think hot bath it, and basically assemble all the innards of the head. So that, like I said, that was $200. So as for the block, it's bone stock. There's nothing special in it. I just kept it that way because, one, I didn't feel like re-tearing down the block, and I didn't need the other stuff. But you are going to need a GSR / Type R water pump. So that will run you, I think, roughly right around $75-ish. And then you need a GSR timing belt as well, which I believe you can get as a whole kit. So I think, or whatever. So it's roughly 100 to 50-ish, right around there for the pump and the belt. Let's talk about the distributor now, because my head did not come with a distributor. Luckily, I had one of you guys send me it. I just had to basically reconnect this part of my harness for it, so that was perfect. So if your head came with it, then don't account for that. But normally, people will charge you right around $60 to $80 for a distributor. Vtec solenoid, hopefully your head came with it. If not, I think I picked this one up for like $15 from a buddy out here. And then, like I said, my Hassport motor mounts were about $350. As for cooling hoses, if yours are good, you don't need to replace them, but I did, so I paid probably right around $50 for new hoses and heater core hoses. So next, also, depending on your setup, isn't a necessity, but for mine it is, because the B20 block uses a PCV system that's included in the B20 head to the intake manifold, but the B16 motor uses the PCV system as a black box on the back of the block. Putting these two together makes it so there's no PCV system, which is positive crankcase ventilation, and that means that it's getting rid of excess pressure, like under load, high RPM, and if that pressure has nowhere to go, then it's going to find ways to escape. It's going to push oil in places it's not supposed to be. Stuff is going to start wearing and tearing faster. Could cause valve seals to go bad, ring lands to crack, whatever. So that's where the oil catch can setup comes in. This is just a cheap setup. This was, I believe, a Speed Daddy setup. I got it for like $40, and I ran it. I vented the block. Some people will tell you to vent the valve cover. Some people will tell you to vent the block. The block is where the most pressure is going to be, because that's where all the work is happening, is down there in the block. So you can do it like if you want to be like LA Tommy, for example. He vented the two ports on the back of the block. There's two coolant holes down there, or two oil passages back there that are blocked off with plugs that look somewhat like this big bolt down here, like this one right here. They look like that, and you can buy these two basically nipples that go in there so you can attach the hoses to them for your thing. But if you also want to vent it from the head, then you got to get your valve cover modified or whatever for the -10 AN fittings or whatever. But yeah, not a necessity, but definitely recommended, so that way you don't prematurely wear out your motor and smoke and stuff. And then another thing that you definitely need to do is, you see this hose back here, this braided steel line or whatever. That's because the head, obviously you're going to have to supply oil to the head, so that way Vtec works. So I bought that kit. I want to say it was right around 100, maybe 40 to 100 bucks. I really don't remember. But it comes with the hose and the T-fitting back there that you can't see, so that way you can run an oil pressure sensor and then supply it to the head. So yeah, like I said, that's roughly 40 to 100 bucks. I'll have to get you guys a price depending on which brand you go with. So whereas that stuff is the main purchases that you need to make, so a block, a head, oil lines, distributor, and whatever stuff didn't come with your head, obviously. So, basically that's going to be the general cost of it, but you have to, like I forgot about, you have to account for all the little things. So like I said, the reseal kit, for example, spark plugs, you're supposed to be running NGK iridiums because I believe they burn hotter. But it's what you're supposed to be using for the best connection and whatnot. For example, also spark plug wires, a Vtec power wire, Oh, and the most important thing is also the ECU. You need to be running, obviously, a Vtec ECU, but you need to get at least a base map on here, which is what I have. I have a quote-unquote street tune, and if you have the money, by all means, go for a dyno tune, but since mine is all just stock internals, just a variation of different stock parts, I don't really need a dyno right now. I'm sure I could probably squeeze another 2 or 3 horsepower out of it, but my car runs really mint on the street tune that I'm on now, so I'm not worried about it, but you have to account for those things as well. ECU, I really recommend if you plan on going further with the build, getting Honda now instead of later. If you have the money, a Honda S300 run you around $300 or something. And then a base map, usually those run you right around $60 to $120 depending on the tuner / base mapper. So I'll add the things up here on the screen that you need. So you need a motor, a block, a B20 motor, you need a Vtec head, you need Vtec ECU, you need oil lines, you need catch can setup, and then say a reseal kit, and then the little miscellaneous things like plugs, wires, and those things. So those are probably going to be the 7 main things. If I forgot something, I'm sorry. I mean, you can go back if you want to, and you can watch my Saturdays of the Boys episodes where we're actually doing stuff to the motor and whatnot. But like I said, mine might be a little bit more because I spent some more on getting the good stuff and making sure, like I said, it was done right. So not flaming people for who may have taken the cheaper way out because it's all based on your budget. But if you can, like I said, save up just a little bit more and get the good stuff. Do it right the first time. So I guess we can probably just go for a little bit of a cruise, let you guys hear this new quieter exhaust, or quieter in the cab. I'm sure it's loud outside. And then end this video out. And the second most common question I get asked about my B20VTEC is how much power it makes. To me, it really doesn't matter what the numbers are because I don't have an exact sheet. But if I had to guess, it'd probably be around 170, 180 horsepower. Not a lot, but my car is pretty darn light, seeing as I don't have hardly anything to it. I don't have AC, I don't have power steering. I have a bunch of lightweight parts for the suspension. So, I mean, it makes me smile. The people that have ridden in it makes them smile. So that's all that matters to me. I don't need more power right now. I need to become a better driver before I add more power, and I need supporting mods like brakes and all the other crap. So yeah, probably 170, 180. If you're expecting anything higher, then sorry. I do have to say though, it is a really fun motor. I've had quite a few Hondas and quite a few cars in general, and this is definitely one of the peppier motors, one of the most, or probably the peppiest motor that I've ever had. I mean, I've got the stock LS transmission, so the YS1, and honestly it doesn't have the best gearing. It's got long gears, but second and third gear in this thing definitely just rip. It makes it so much fun and so easy to just blast through traffic, like if you're trying to get on an on-ramp or something. So it's definitely nice. There's way too much traffic out here to be doing this. This is difficult. Well, I think that pretty much covers everything that I was going to talk about. Kind of like I said, what I did, how much it will probably run you, and give you guys a couple quick little clips to kind of hear how the exhaust sounds. I still have to do some outside stuff, but I don't really feel like leaving my camera here because I don't know this area too well. But if you want to hear what the exhaust sounds like, go check out my Instagram. It's @ChrisSadowski. And I have an exhaust clip on there that I just posted up today. But other than that, guys, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe, like all the usual stuff. And anyway, I guess we'll see you for the next video. Have a good night, guys. Peace out. My American apparel, but to wear.